Okay, it's me again. I'm going to continue with part two of the video with my responses to your answers to my question of why you can't achieve the same recovery I did, because I think that you can. So I'm sort of responding to all the viewer questions. I'm going back to the responses, and someone said there are a lack of people, role models, and such like yourself out there who have recovered like you have. I know so many more people struggling than I do recovered. I suppose a lot of people just want to forget it once it's over. Do you realize how inspiring you are to be free of the disorder yet still be in contact with it on a day-to-day basis and not fear that? I think that's really rare. I think that's strength. Well, first I want to say thank you so much for the kind words. I really do appreciate that. And, you're right. There always do seem to be so many more people out there struggling than who are recovered. And it doesn't necessarily give people hope that they can get past what they're dealing with if it seems like so many people stay in this life instead of moving forward and leaving it behind them. So I can understand definitely where that response comes from. You want to remember, I mean, sure, I'm here on YouTube, I have a blog and things like that, and I'm sort of being an open book, and I'm talking about where I've been and where I am now and trying to help people and give advice and encouragement and things like that. But you see me here because it's like you said, I'm willing to put myself out there. And I really do think that there are a good amount of people out there who have left the eating disorder behind, but they don't necessarily want to be an open book. They don't want to, bare their soul. And so, in that way, they're never going to be able to go out there and say, I recovered from an eating disorder and this is where I am now. I guess it's sort of like, just because you don't hear about it doesn't mean it's not there. A lot of people wrote to me about services not being available to them depending on where they lived, whether it was the UK, New Zealand, Australia, Germany, lots of different places represented in the messages that I got. People saying that, they didn't have the sort of residential inpatient facilities, they didn't have proper programs, they had long waiting lists, things like that. And those, of course, are all very valid reasons that are preventing you from achieving recovery. And I understand that. It still doesn't mean that you're never going to achieve it. It's really all inside you. The potential to achieve it is really all inside you. That's what it comes down to. Are all of these things hindrances? They're very much so hindrances, but they're obstacles. And if you can get better and better, even with the obstacles in your way, you're going to be so much stronger for it. And I know that sounds very cliche, but it's also very true. As far as resources are concerned, don't underestimate the power of the internet. It's here, it's at your fingertips, you might as well use it. Of course, it's not going to be able to give you a bed in a hospital setting and meal plans and things like that, but there are a lot of great resources on the internet as far as support is concerned. There are a lot of support networks, forums, websites, chat rooms, things like that. And sometimes just feeling that you're not alone is all the strength you need to get from one day to the next. So don't underestimate that. I do have a video that goes through different resources, places you can visit, call, things like that. Again, I know a lot of them are United States based, but I do have resources for places that are not in the United States. And just really want to make you aware that things like meal plans are actually on the internet, very healthy ones that are by nutritionists, registered dietitians, things like that, not from lay people, that can help you to sort of structure yourself if that's what you're looking for. Now, you're going to have a lot more discipline and personal accountability if you are not seeing a professional and you're trying to use a meal plan that you find off the internet. And obviously, a meal plan that you would find on the internet is not going to be tailored to your specific needs, height, ideal weight, things like that. But you can find pretty good pretty good meal plans, both for sort of a refeeding process. If you're very underweight and you need to eat more than 2,000 calories per day, there are meal plans for that are completely legitimate. There are also meal plans for, your average approximately 2,000 calorie a day diet for a female, regardless of height and weight. And there are places you can go to find those things, and I'll try to post the links to those in the info bar of this video. Another really wonderful viewer actually did a video response to my why video, to give me her answer to the question of, why she didn't feel she could achieve the same kind of recovery I have. And her answer was an answer that I've heard frequently from people, and it was basically, in a nutshell, that her body size was preventing her from achieving full recovery, and she felt that until she was at a lower weight where it was ideal and healthy for her, she wasn't going to be able to achieve full recovery. And it makes perfect sense, because recovery has to do with the physical as well. You want to be a physical healthy person, and I get that, but recovery mindset is something completely different. So I think that while you're striving to be your healthiest self, whether that means you are striving to lose a little bit of weight or gain a little bit of weight or maintain the weight that you are, it doesn't mean that you can't sort of start changing your thinking in the meantime and get that much closer to recovered while you're doing those things. For example, if you still sort of have a self-hating attitude where you dislike yourself, you dislike your body, you are never going to be happy with yourself even when you get to that ideal weight for you, unless you like yourself at any weight. And it's okay to be uncomfortable or a little bit anxious about your weight if it's something that you don't feel is healthy for you. That's perfectly normal and natural, and people without eating disorders are going to feel that kind of discomfort. But if you hate yourself and think you're completely unattractive, not beautiful at all at your current weight, when you get down to a better weight, it doesn't mean that you're automatically in a snap going to think that you are gorgeous. It doesn't work that way. It's really about the total person. It's really about liking yourself and loving yourself for who you are. And you have to try to reach that in order to achieve recovery, and sort of think of it as something akin to the physical well-being that you are looking for. Don't forget that there are plenty of people out there who are technically overweight, which is a word I personally hate, even though, it's not even saying fat or anything like that, but I hate it because there are so many people that are classified as overweight and they aren't. It's crazy, because somebody came up with this chart with this scale of what constitutes overweight, and everyone just uses that and thinks, oh my gosh, if they're a few pounds over it, they're suddenly, they weigh too much. And that's not always the case. And, I just want to say that I know plenty of people who I would probably be considered overweight, and they're absolutely beautiful. I don't just say that because, I'm all about inner beauty and things like that. They are gorgeous, beautiful women, and I think they're stunning, and I respect them, and I don't think they need to change at all. So, that's something to think about. It also reminds me, I did a video months back for the Freedom Fighters channel where I do my Wednesday videos, and it was on the fat stigma in our society, and the video response that I got from a viewer just really reminded me of that. So I'm going to post the link to that, because if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. Someone else answered my question and said, "It's such a good question. I think the reason I don't think I can have that kind of recovery is because the eating disorder has been with me for over half my life, and it feels like it is so entrenched. Because eating is something that is inescapable, I feel like confronting the issue of food every day will sometimes lead to disordered behavior. I want to have the faith that I can be free, but I'm not sure. I want to believe, and I have a stubborn determination with most things, but I have failed so many times to defeat the eating disorder." You have to keep picking yourself back up and trying again, because a lot of people fail when it comes to recovery from an eating disorder, and A lot of people have relapses, and you could have 10 relapses before you're successful. Don't let that stop you. It's not a process that automatically puts you back at the beginning. It's also not a process that you're going to reach the end the first time that you try to do it. I have relapsed. I have relapsed. So even if you've relapsed many times, keep going, okay? You're worth it.